make in everything you do, but keep in mind that in the end, the choice you make makes you. Even something as simple as reading the new fiction book that came out or waiting for the movie. I'm going to show you why making a simple choice as waiting for the movie is going to have drastic consequences on your life. Well, of course, all we've said, I'll just wait for the movie. Why reading the book is probably a better idea. We're going to talk about why readers increase their likelihood of academic and economic success and provide themselves with personal, professional, and social advantages over people who do not read. So, normally we think of two types of readers. We think of people who are literate or people who have the ability to read. We think of people who are illiterate or do not have the ability to read. But there's a third classification that unfortunately most of us fall under, which are illiterate, people who do have the ability to read but are unwilling to do so. So we find that people who are illiterate miss just as much information and miss just as much benefit as people who cannot read at all, which is scary. So use it or lose it principle. So as we all know, physical exercise and exercising your muscles is going to make you is going to develop and grow your physical muscles. In the same sense as mentally, reading a book is going to increase and develop your brain muscles. It's going to give you abilities such as increased reasoning skills, analytical skills, emotional intelligence, increased vocabulary, increased memory capacity. There's a bunch of different skills that, just like exercising, speed, power, strength, it gives you while reading a book. So out of these three, which requires the most amount of effort? Walking around the block, sprinting 50 yards, hiking up Camelback Mountain. Obviously, hiking Camelback Mountain requires the most amount of effort. And in the same sense, comparing it to the mental effort, processing images or watching TV, watching a movie is the easiest type of mental effort that you can give your brain, as opposed to listening to someone speak. Like right now, it's a little bit harder because I'm not providing with visuals, but reading is actually the most neurobiologically demanding out of anything that you can provide for your brain. So, for example, if I give you all four pictures of what are these? A castle. You don't have to do any work. I mean, the pictures are provided for you, the scenery, the details, whether you think of a castle as medieval, Disney World, an ancient Japanese castle, a German castle, or I just give you this. And as soon as you read that word, your mind automatically, it forces you to construct and imagine everything for yourself. So as you're reading a book, as opposed to watching a movie or listening to a speech, you're forced to concentrate and forced to imagine everything for yourself, which obviously, like I said, requires the most amount of mental effort. Now, a lot of experts and people overstate the effect of, they say, engage in intelligent conversation or watch a documentary or things to, increase your intelligence. But, that compared to reading is not nearly as beneficial when compared, like I said, to reading. Now, actually, it doesn't matter whether it's a fiction, a nonfiction, a self-help book, a children's book, a cookbook, autobiographies. Every type of reading actually provides its own type of benefit for the user. So, a lot of people think, oh, let me stick to the academic books or the business books, how to become a better leader, things like that. But actually, it's also proven that fictional books, Harvard Business Review, Forbes magazine, they've done extensive research that reading fiction increases your emotional intelligence, increases the ability to relate to other people, increases empathy, because when you're reading these books, you're exposed to complex characters just like us, involved in moral dilemmas, moral situations, and you're reading books and you're figuring out what would this person do, and comparing yourself, what would I do in this situation too? So you begin to develop an understanding more of your friends, more of your colleagues, and a deeper understanding more of yourself. And that obviously helps, like I said, with business. This is just this is actually from one of the most extensive studies ever done called To Read or Not to Read. This is, it's a little bit too detailed, but basically what this shows is printed text, watching TV, or listening to speech. Reading comic books, you're actually going to be exposed to more rare words and more vocabulary that you've never heard of before. More than twice as much as listening to two college-graduated, educated people having a conversation with each other. So even something as reading comic books, children's books, exposes you to more words, increases your vocabulary more extensively than watching a primetime adult television show or listening to, even an expert witness testimony. The next thing is that it is proven to correlate strongly with increased math and reading skills when you read more. Like I said, it improves the memory skills. This year, someone compared to who reads almost every day compared to never or hardly ever reads. You can see there's a drastic difference with reading scores. Obviously, the more you read, the better you're going to become with reading comprehension, with writing skills. It only makes sense. And going off that same token, this applies the Matthew principle, which came from the Bible, which says the rich get richer or the poor get poorer. People who read begin to develop these comprehension, these vocab, all these different skills, and they keep, becoming better and better and better at these skills, as opposed to people who don't read, people who just decide to watch television, to listen to tapes, whatever it may be. They stay stagnant, or they stay exactly where they are. So these people are beginning to develop all of these skills, while people who don't read don't. So the gap is continuing to widen. It's giving them more of an advantage and more of a benefit compared to people who don't. Now, as far as the economic advantages and job opportunities that people who read have over people who don't, these are the top 5 rated by employers. Basic skills that different levels of graduates they expect in different levels of graduate. Reading comprehension and writing English are always in the top 3 no matter what. So if you can read more and read every day as compared to someone who doesn't, and you have these skills that every employer is looking for, then you have a significant advantage over people who don't. It just makes sense. Okay, but reading's for geeks. Reading's for nerds. I don't want to be, an introvert. I want to go out with my friends. I want to be social. The truth is actually that studies have shown, now there is no positive correlation, there is no cause and effect situation, but people who do read more, they're 3 times as more likely to visit museums, attend concerts, musicals, play sports, exercise, and you wonder why that is. It just makes sense because people who read kind of, they see it as fundamental to growing as a person. They want to understand more knowledge. People who, whether you want to become a better chef, a better accountant, you want to gain more knowledge, people are going to read. And reading is just another part of the fundamental aspect of them, becoming a better person. So it naturally attributes to all these other things. Again, these are people, literary readers versus non-readers. You can see the drastic difference of people who read, who play sports, attend these things, versus people who don't. And lastly, the next time someone finally says to you, I'm not going to read the book, I'll just wait for the movie to come out. You can say, well, while you're waiting for the movie to come out, I'm going to read the book, and not only am I going to increase my academic and economic success, but I'm also going to provide myself with personal, professional, and social advantages that you probably will never, ever have. Thank you.